Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich. Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich. Hey, everybody, welcome to Knuckle Sandwich MMA, our YouTube channel and podcast. We are going to talk about this weekend's fight card, and it's a fight night, and it is in where is it? It's in
It's in New York,
it's in New York, El Monte or something like that. Elmont, New York. So that's going to be
and
a good fight. I have
it's
my
the afternoon show.
cohort over here. My cohort over here. This is Nando, and he's going to bring some of his experience and expertise to this podcast. We're going to have a lot of fun. Let's have some laughs, and we don't take ourselves too seriously, but because why? Why should you, right? All right, Nando, welcome.
Hello, how are you guys doing? This is going to be a great card. It's an afternoon card. It's like an 11 o'clock fight card. It's going to be a lot of good fights, and we're just going to break down what we see in these fights.
Yeah, and we're going to pick winners because I think I've got Nando. I think I've got a pretty good handle on winners who I think is going to win. And as a matter of fact, with a UFC 276, I picked most of the winners. I think I missed one fight of that whole card, maybe two, but one I'm sure of that I missed. And the rest of them I picked the winners. Even though the ones that I wanted to win didn't win, I have to go with my gut on that one. So with that in mind, Nando, let's talk. We're going to start. We were talking about this earlier. I want to go over the whole card. Tell me your thoughts on this whole card. Just encapsulate the whole thing.
Okay, this is going to be a pretty good fight card. You have a lot of fighters that people aren't really know a lot about, but they're like one of those people where you're like, oh, okay, I know who that is once you see him, or like, oh, okay, I didn't know that person was still fighting. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting fights. A lot of these fights are going to set up future fights with bigger fighters.
Well, and I agree. Also, I think the matchmakers did a bang up job because there's some good stylistically. There's some great fights that I think are going to bring a lot of action. And the fight cards, the fight nights, I mean, have been really exciting as of lately. You don't know a lot of the names, as Nando just said, but when they fight, you remember them, and they gain clout, because I've seen some fight nights where I'm just jumping out of my seat, man. It's very exciting. Okay, so let's start from the bottom, and we're going to go with Emily Ducote versus Jessica Panay. And I'll just read you the odds if you don't mind, Nando. We've got Ducote is at a minus 150 and Panay at a plus 130. So it's not that big of a deal, but Ducote is she's making her debut.
Oh, really?
So that's going to be pretty exciting. Nobody knows anything about her. I haven't seen anything on her. Have you seen anything on this particular fighter?
No, I've seen a lot on Panay. Panay's been around for a while. She's been in the strawweight division for a while. She's got some wins and some losses, but yeah, when they bring these new people in, people are like, oh, okay. Well, a lot of times if they give them a veteran, they're giving someone for them to showcase against.
Yeah,
they want something big out of her.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Nando. Put yourself in Panay's shoes, okay? You're not as pretty as she is, but we're gonna just sideline that.
Okay.
But if you're in her shoes and you're a veteran who's been with UFC for a number of years, how do you take bringing on somebody that's doing their debut, using you as a potential stepping stone?
You're gonna want to pressure her. You're gonna want her to get the jitters. You're gonna want her to be like, oh, these big lights and everything. And you're used to this. You're a veteran. You don't want to let her dictate. This is your cage. You want to dictate how this fight goes. And I think of Penny, she's gonna have to just be a vet and go in there and know that this person, this might not be too, it might be too much for her, but if she lets this girl get going.
Well, I think also Penne could make a mistake and just say, I'm going to just squash this chick, you know, this newbie. I'm going to squash her. Because sometimes, I mean, if you make it to the UFC, you've got some skills, right?
Yes.
All right, let's move on. We're going to move on to the next prelim, and that one is, let's see, Dwight Grant versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus. There we go.
Stoltzfus.
Yeah, and here's the odds. Dwight Grant is at -140, and Stoltzfus is at plus 120. So that one is that's not too big of odds either. What are your thoughts on Dwight Grant?
I'm not really familiar with Dwight Grant. What is his last two fights?
He's coming off a loss. He's currently 11-5. And,
okay, that's good.
Dustin, I'm going to just go by his first name. Dustin is also coming off a loss, and he's 13-4.
And what weight class is that in?
That is welterweight.
Okay, well that's a good weight class. I mean, they don't have a lot of fighters in the top, so that's a good weight class to be in. I think that I'm not really familiar with either one of them, so.
Yeah, this one, I've seen Dwight Grant fight, and he's a pretty good fighter. This Dustin guy, I've seen him fight as well, and I'm gonna predict him to win. By the way, I'm gonna predict Penne to win that fight, the last one we just discussed. And then
you think so?
Yeah, and then I'm
gonna go with the other girl.
You're going with the debut?
Yeah, because I think she's gonna get in there. It's the first fight. There's not gonna be a lot of people. Like, a question for you: when you were at the UFC, you were at the first. You were from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Was there a lot of people there in those first like 3 fights? I always wonder about that.
No, there wasn't. I mean, it was,
you and a bunch of genders.
It was pretty empty. I'd say there was maybe 1,000 people there, but in that big arena that holds, 18,000. So it was pretty sparse.
Okay.
So
is Bruce Buffer there for every announcement?
Yeah.
So is he still fired up for the first person to the last person?
Yeah, and I'll give it to Bruce Buffer because he doesn't lose any steam.
Gusto?
No steam from the first prelim bout or even a pre-prelim bout. He doesn't lose any steam. So okay, so who do you got? Do you got Dwight Grant or Dustin?
I'll go with Dwight Grant.
Okay. I think so you and I 2 for 2 at odds. We're gonna see, man. We're gonna see.
I had Barbarino right.
How did you do on your picks last time?
Not very well. Because I wanted Max Holloway to win. I had Izzy. What was the Barbarino? Here's a question about the fight. When you saw the Sugar Sean, do you believe it was an eye poke, or do you believe what he's saying? It was a knuckle to the eye. It wasn't.
No, it was an eye poke, and that was a definite eye poke. So whatever Sean says, I like Sean O'Malley, love his fighting style, but that was definitely an eye poke. All right, next up on the prelims, we've got this is light heavyweight. Dustin Jacoby versus Da Un Jung. And let's see what these guys have. Dustin Jacoby is they're both coming off of wins. His record is 17-5-1. Jung is 15-2-1, so they're neck and neck. Their stats are, you know, Dustin's got a little bit of a leg reach of 45 inches, and Jung has 40-inch leg reach. But they're pretty comparable. And this one, I'm going to go with Dustin because I've seen him fight before, and this guy has no quit. I don't think I've seen Jung fight, so I don't know much about him to comment. What's your thoughts there?
I have the same. I like Dustin. I think Jung, if it's a person I'm thinking, he's a little slower, and I think that Dustin's gonna be it's gonna be a good fight for him.
Yeah,
he needs to get, like, in that weight class, he needs 4 wins, and then he'll be in the contenders. You know what I mean? So if you get, because there's not a lot of fighters that haven't already fought for the title.
Yeah, true. Well, one thing I forgot to mention is the odds. Jacoby is at -130 and Jung at +110. So, like I said, the matchmakers, they did a fantastic job on this card. But that's going to be a good fight because Jacoby, he keeps moving forward. I really like his style. And next up, we have Bill Algeo versus Herbert Burns. And Herbert Burns is the younger brother to Gilbert Burns. So they're fighting, I think they fight out of the same camp.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. Algeo is -200 to Burns +170. So there's a pretty big gap right there. What's your thoughts? Oh, and give you just a little bit of stats. Algeo is 15-6. The last fight was a win. Herbert Burns is 11-3. Last fight, a loss.
I think Algeo seems to be, he's a tall guy. 6 foot. I mean, that's good. But I mean, Gilbert Burns, if you look at him, if you think, I would go with Herbert Burns, because Gilbert Burns I think he's the older brother. So he's bullying this kid around his whole life, and he's doing jiu-jitsu. And I like a younger brother fighter, because I feel like you look at, like, what's his name? John Jones. Clay Guida's brother didn't do too well. The Lozons, the Millers, you know what I mean? I like the Diaz, of course, on the top of the list. Yeah, I think that he's got a bigger brother. His brother's a welterweight. He's a littler guy. So I would put him. I would imagine they would have similar jiu-jitsu skill if they're growing up together.
And I think you're right. I think his jiu-jitsu is pretty good, but I think I'm going to go with Algeo. So again, we're 3 for 3, Mr. Nando. Going opposite, man. Okay, but I'm liking Algeo not because of the odds, but because he's pretty good at scrambling, and his wrestling's not bad either. So I think that's going to kind of nullify the jiu-jitsu on Burns's part. But then you have the striking. So I think the longer it stays on the feet, the more it's going to favor Algeo.
Yes.
All right, let's see what else we got here. We got Shore versus Simon. Now this fight I really like because let's see, where's that? There he is. And the odds are surprising to me. Shore -165 and Simon +140. Now that I don't get that. I'm not getting that at all, because Simon, Ricky, they call him Simon, Ricky Simon. But he's a good fighter, man. He's a really good fighter, and they're both coming off of wins. Ricky Simon is 19-3. Jack Shore is also he's 16-0. So maybe that's why, because he hasn't lost yet.
I think it's because he hasn't tasted defeat yet.
Yeah. So what's your thought on this fight?
I think Ricky Simon, I think it's going to be a tough fight for him. I don't believe that it should be that far of an underdog, but I do believe that Jack Shore is probably going to win.
Oh my goodness, that's a tough one for me. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna go Simone. I'm gonna keep the this thing going of you and I being on opposite. So that's 4 in a row. I'm going. Okay. And you guys remember this because he's gonna be eating crow. Okay, he's gonna be eating crow after this card.
Yeah? You're gonna rub it in the next episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say you remember, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This next one is Siriano versus Lungiambula.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I think I said that one fairly decent. And then we have let's see. Hold on one second, guys. So we have the odds are Siriano is -245, which is huge, to Lungiambula, who's a +205. And the record is Siriano is 8-2-0. Lungiambula is 11-4. Both coming off of losses. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, that's weird that it's such a weird. They're
huge gap.
Yeah, it's a huge gap, and there's the losses I'm looking at aren't. Yeah, they have both 2 losses in a row. Decision. Huh. I'm gonna go with the what is the, how do you pronounce his name? Dolce? Yeah.
Dolce Lungiambula.
The middleweight, just judo background. I don't know. I think it's going to be a close fight. All their fights are unanimous, so I'm going to go with Dolce by unanimous decision.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going with you. You're leading people down the wrong path.
Yeah, you got to go for the underdog, guys. You got to go for the underdog.
I'm going for Soriano.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh man, you're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else we got here. Let me see what else, because I got some other stuff for you. So now we're going to move to the main card. Okay. And we got Lauren Murphy versus Miesha Tate. Let's see what we got here as far as wins and losses. Why don't you take that one? You got that pulled up?
Yeah. So Lauren Murphy is 38. They're both Miesha Tate's 35. She was out for 5 years. She lost to Raquel Pennington and Amanda Nunes, and then she hung it up. She was I think she was working in the back for 1FC. I'm not sure exactly what she was doing, but she was working for 1FC, probably like publicity with like Rich Franklin and stuff. She decided to come back. She won against Caitlin Vieira, and then she won against Marion Renault and lost against Caitlin Vieira. And
Marion Renault was like 40 at that time.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And it was her farewell fight, I believe.
Okay, so I know who you're going for. But yeah, she's trying to come back to the title. She's going into a lower weight class. She's trying to be a double champ, but it normally doesn't happen. When someone becomes a double champ, usually they're in a lower weight class and they go up to a higher weight class. I was looking at everybody. The only person that did the opposite was BJ Penn.
And Shevchenko.
Yeah, but she didn't win the title.
She did in the lower weight class, though. She's the champ now. She dropped down. She didn't go up.
Yeah. So Miesha Tate saying if she wins this, she's going to be fighting for the title. but she probably will, but I don't think she should. And Lauren Murphy was like a punching bag in the last fight against Valentina.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was wasn't even close.
So
She's let me tell you the odds on that one. So they got Tate at -205 and Murphy at +175. So that's a pretty big gap too.
yeah, I think they're going to try to get Misha to win, but I think Misha needs. I'm not seeing a lot of progression. You know, she was out for 5 years. You know, I just don't. I think she'll win, but I don't think she's going to win the title. I don't think they can give her the title.
Here's the thing, though. If okay, and this is my prediction, Nando. If Misha wins in spectacular fashion, then she'll probably at least, if not fight for the title, she'll be one away if she wins another one. But I think she has to demonstrate that she can take Murphy out, like put her, either submit her or knock her out. If it's a decision or even if it's a split decision, I don't see it, man, because
you don't see that.
She ragdolled Murphy big time.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if she doesn't win with spectacular fashion, they're gonna do a rematch of the fight she just had. They'll do it again, or they'll have Misha fight that girl. And I don't think Misha can beat that girl. That girl is good.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you on that. She hasn't really. I don't want to say she hasn't gotten better, but game plans kind of seems the same to me.
Yeah, she's in there slugging, and she's trying to take him down. And I don't know if that's gonna. I mean, it'll work against Lauren Murphy, but I don't think it's gonna work once some of these other people fight her.
I think Misha can win this fight on the feet for sure. Murphy's definitely slowing down, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Give us the next one, Nando.
It's Shane Burgos versus Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain is 13-4. He's 26 years old. He had a win over Venata. He's in 2-win streak. Shane Burgos lost to Barboza and Emmett, which Emmett is jumping for the title right now. Mm-hmm. So he's won in the last 3. So, I mean, that's not a good. He's going to have to get in there and get a win, or they might cut him.
Burgos?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. He's in the top 15. Here's the odds on that one. We got Burgos versus at -170 and Jourdain at +145.
Huh.
So okay. Who do you have on that one?
I don't know. Well, I was looking at Jourdain, but when you're saying all that, yeah, maybe Burgos does have it. I mean, yeah, he lost to Barboza and Emmett. Those are top guys.
Toughest guys, man. Emmett's a monster. So you're picking Burgos?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Burgos. You flipped me this time.
Okay, so I'm going with Jourdain.
Oh, what? You made me go to Burgos.
Yeah, with, Jourdain. Here's where I see the reason why I'm picking Jourdain is because Burgos takes a beating, man. Like, he keeps his head on the center line. He's when you start to get that into that dirty boxing and those wars, he doesn't back away. He's exciting. Love to watch Burgos fight, but his chin is starting to become more and more suspect. He gets rocked a lot, and when he gets into those wars, he doesn't take his head off the center line. They just and it becomes a pretty good target, and he throws bombs back. But I think Jourdain is going to be more precise in his striking, and I think his counters are going to start to light Burgos up, and he's going to wobble him, and then Burgos is going to say, okay, we got to pull the trigger and go to war, and Jourdain is going to be too slick for him. That's what I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you might be right. I mean, yeah, if it's a war, Shane might win, but
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, you are right. If he's slick, oh man, we're at odds on this one.
Let's see who else I can change your mind on. Okay, who's next?
Matt Shell
Schnell.
against, and then Sue. I don't know how to say his name, but
Sumujari.
Sumujari. He's ranked 12th. He's 16-4. Matt Shell's 32. He's ranked 8th right now, so that would be a big jump up for him if he can get that win. He's from AKA, and yeah, I was looking at this guy. He's from AKA. He's small. I think they're fighting at what, featherweight?
Yeah, 125.
125. So that's flyweight, right?
Yep, they're small dudes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Shell. I was looking at the way he was fighting. I like his movement, and I think, I don't know, the other guy's really good though. I mean, the other guy, yeah, I'm gonna go with Shell.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep the thing running because I'm gonna go with Sumujari. I think the last couple of fights that I've seen Schnell fight, he looks really good at the beginning, man. You know, I mean, he looks really good, but when he starts to get touched up, I don't think that it's not that he slows down, but a switch flips in him, and it's not a switch of urgency. It's just like, you know, something just kind of, I don't know, it just changes, and he just doesn't have that killer instinct. And that's just the last couple of fights that I've seen.
Yeah.
In the first round, man, he looks sharp and everything like that. But I think if the Tibetan Eagle can get him into the second and or third rounds, he's going to win by, I would say, by decision.
Okay.
And let's see where we're at as far as Sumujari is minus 260, and Schnell is a plus 222. So there's a good sized gap there.
Jeez.
Are you gonna flip now?
No, I'm sticking with mine. I'm gonna win some of these. Watch, you'll see.
I like your moxie, man. Okay, bring us the next one.
Okay, Li Jingliang and Muslim Salikov.
Yep.
They call him the Kung Fu.
King of Kung Fu?
King of Kung Fu. I mean, he looks silly. I was looking at his reel, and it's just him doing all these like kicks. I mean, it looks good. And I think Jingliang needs to win. He was embarrassed. I mean, Hazmat picked him up. He didn't know what was going on. He picked him up like he was a little baby and dragged him to the other side. And his arms were like, what's going on? Threw him to the ground. Yeah, he couldn't. Threw him right to the ground, was yelling. Hazmat wasn't even looking at him. He was just hitting him, screaming at Dana. It was an embarrassment. It was really, you know, so I think he needs to wrestle. He needs to, I would say, looking at the other guy, I would say he needs to get in close because the other guy he punches, but it's a lot of kicks. It's a lot of punching, moving back, giving the person the distance and then kicking and then coming in. So he kicks, he comes in and punches, you know, and I think Jinling's going to have to go to some wrestling and nullify someone like that. You got to back someone against the cage, like a Wonder Boy or like Connor. They don't like being against the fence if their main weapon is kicking. Okay. You have to keep the distance.
So you're saying that Lee needs to win because of the embarrassment from the last fight.
Yeah. Will he win? I mean, do you think that sticks in his head? Do you think it's going to work against him or work for him?
I know this. I know before he got ragdolled like that, he was pretty cocky and with good reason. You know, he's a strong guy. I'm going to go with Muslim on this one because if you're talking wrestling for wrestling, you know, the Russians, man, they got that sambo and they got that, you know, that hardcore ground and pound going on. I don't see Lee taking his back. I think he's got too much experience on the ground. But Lee does have some good striking when he's boxing. He's got some good striking, and I'm not sure about Muslim. I think it's going to be the opposite of what you think, Nando. That I think Muslim's going to try and take Lee down, especially if he starts hitting him with that jab.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I'm gonna stick chest beat. I'm gonna go with Lee.
Hey, we only agree on one fight this whole card so far.
Really?
That's Misha Tate.
Yeah. Okay.
The rest of them were opposite. So it's going to be a bad
Night for one of
the
us.
next time we do our podcast.
Okay.
Okay, who do we got next?
Okay, so we got the co-main event. We got Watterson 36. She lost to Rodriguez, Carlos Esparza, and Joanna, but that's nothing to hang your hat on. Those are good fights. Then Amanda Lemus, she's ranked 11. She lost to Andrade, but she was looking like she was on a tear. And, you know, she just got, I was watching how she lost over and over again. And it was really, she threw, Andrade went underneath, got her in a triangle, and pinned her up against the cage. And that was it. So it wasn't even a long fight. But I mean, they're both very good. You're talking about the karate hottie. She's got great kicks. I liked her against Angela Hill. I mean, I thought it was going to be a great fight. It was pretty good. So I'm going to go with Lemos because I don't think it's going to be wrestling. It's going to be stand up. And I think she has more power than Michelle Watterson.
Well, going back to the Andrade fight, here's what's interesting. If you go back and watch that, when she got her in the standing choke, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if I recall correctly, Andrade was hanging off the front of her. She wasn't on her back.
No, it was a triangle. She threw the punch, and Andrade went under the punch and grabbed her into a triangle and had her leg behind her knee. So she was pinning her against the cage. But
to me, Andrade, that had to take in a tremendous amount of strength, because if her body was hanging off, even though she had her wrapped around and she's doing that choke, how much strength do you have to put somebody out like that? On the back, even on standing on the back, you can see your body weight is resting against the opponent. But on the front, that was crazy, man. Crazy. I mean, it was a fantastic finish. But I think I thought Lemos was winning that fight before that choke.
Yeah.
She was looking pretty good to me. I'm going to go with you on this one. I'm going to pick Lemos over Watterson because Watterson, yeah, you're right. I agree with you. She does not have the power. Lemos has some big power. I think the best tool that Watterson has is those kicks. If she can keep her at bay, I don't know how good her finishing, her subs are pretty good. She's at 50% on her subs. So I think if Watterson can get her to the ground, she could possibly win. But I'm picking Lemos. I think she's going to be really favored on this fight.
Yeah. So you ready for the main event?
Yep.
Okay, so we got Brian T. City versus Yair Rodriguez.
Now hold it right there before you say anything else. This one I want to really dissect, okay?
Okay.
And don't make your pick until we both comment on this, and then at the end I'll say, okay, Nando, it's time to make your pick.
Okay.
And then we'll do
All
it from that. We'll do it from there. So go ahead and continue.
Okay, so Yair has a loss against Max. They both have losses against Mac. Yair hasn't fought Volk yet. He had a no contest against Jeremy Stevens and then a win over Jeremy Stevens. Then he had that great knockout of Frankie Edgar, and he's a kicker. He's unorthodox. He's gonna do a lot of things. His fight against Korean Zombie, he was losing, and then he just elbows him. He goes down like he's tying his shoes and elbows him right in the head. Now you have T City, which he's saying all week, I'm the only one that put Volkanovski in danger. I'm the only one that almost won. So, it should be my championship already. And he's already saying, you're saying if I win, I get a title fight. If Brian wins, he's going to have to win some more, which I agree with that. Yair's 29, Brian's 31, but they're still pretty young. Brian's had a little more damage in those two fights, Volkanovski and Max Holloway, but you're going to have that. And so did Yair. So I'm going to break it down. Stylistically, I think it's a perfect grappler versus striker. But Yair does have grappling, not nowhere near, the Gracie Academy and black belt, doing jiu-jitsu with the Diaz brothers, Kron Gracie, all those people. It's going to be an interesting fight. Okay, I'd like to hear your opinion, and then we'll debate.
Well, first and foremost, Nando, I love the breakdown you just did. That was great. It's fantastic. Very good insight. So if I'm going to break it down, I'm looking at the last two fights, and they were both wars for both of these guys.
Yes.
And the thing with it, as you mentioned, Ortega was saying that, he's the one that gave Volkanovski the most, but I think that was the biggest heartbreak too, that he would get out of that and then come back and win, because that's got to do something to your, to your confidence for sure. And so I think that's going to always be in the back of his mind. If T City can't get Rodriguez in a front choke or, some kind of guillotine or something like that, how's he gonna look? I do agree also that Rodriguez is he's better on the feet because he's so unorthodox. And he's pretty good at moving backwards too, because that's when he was losing to the Zombie and he did that spinning back elbow, came out of nowhere. He's capable of that, and I think he wants to have because he's got a lot on the line if he wants to fight for the title. If he runs over T City, if he runs over Ortega, knocks him out or submits him, which I think is going to, there's a possibility of either one, but I think it's going to be, if it's anything, it's going to be a knockout or a TKO.
Yes,
he will fight for the title. If he puts on a great performance and it looks really good. Whereas, I agree with what Rodriguez said too. If Ortega wins, he's still going to have to do probably one more. I don't know though, because he did almost have Volkanovski. How he got out of it, I have no idea, other than Ortega's arms gassed, because that's tough to hold that kind of pressure, and your arms are filling with the lactic acid and all that stuff. They get just tired and cramped up. So I agree. It's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be wrestling. I think it's going to be grappling and striking, because I think T City, his job is to get him on the ground, get a leg lock, get something, get a limb, arm bar, whatever he can get a hold of. But I've seen Rodriguez scramble too. He's he's a strong dude. I think that he's stronger than Ortega as far as physically stronger. And
Oh,
I think
okay.
he's gonna be able to slip some of those grappling exchanges where T-City tries to get him into a compromising position to choke him out or to get an armbar or something, get a hold of a limb and break it. I think he's going to be too fast for that. And if they go back to the feet, that's where I think he's going to have the advantage. On the ground, Ortega all day, because that's one thing you got to look at. You're going to be on the defense on the ground, because he's looking for something. And you can't leave anything hanging out because he'll grab it.
And another thing I wanted to say is I got it mixed up. T-City was the one that knocked out Frank Edgar. When Frank Edgar fought Yair, he smothered him, he took him down, and he wrestled him. And but that was a long time ago. I mean, and that was Frankie Edgar that wasn't as weathered as he is now.
Well, and the cool thing too is, like, a lot of these fighters are starting to like experience all these different camps and styles, like you mentioned with Yair, going to all these different and getting all these flavors and adding little tools to his repertoire. I really like Ortega striking. I mean, you cannot discount that. I'm not saying, Yair is definitely winning if it's on the feet. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying he's just so unorthodox. It's just like, if it's the opposite, they're polar opposites. If it's on the feet, he's unorthodox. He's going to throw all kinds of weird stuff at Ortega. If it's on the ground, Ortega's going to do all kinds of weird stuff towards him. You know what I mean?
He's gonna let Yair scramble, but it's gonna be guided. So Yair's he's gotta know that, hey, he's letting me go this way. Why is he letting me go this way? It's so easy to go this way. Next thing you know, he's got your legs tied up. Next thing you know, it's like a snake. He's letting you go on the position. So Yair's gonna have to know that. Try to keep it against the cage, because I think Ortega's going to want to keep it in the middle so I can, and I think the choking, he had that guillotine, but I think the guillotine wasn't the best submission to do on Volkanovski, because he's got a big neck. He's like Dean Lister. His neck is huge. You're not going to choke somebody out like that. But I think, it might even go to decision. But I think if it's a decision, it's going to be a war. They're both going to be taken away in stretchers. I think it's going to be really. I think I know who I'm picking.
Okay, so now comes the moment of truth. Okay, so basically, because we've agreed on 2 fights thus far, you've only picked 2 correct fights.
Okay. All right.
So the onus is on you now. I'm going to let you go first, and you tell me who you think and why.
Gosh, I don't know. It's tough because it could go either way. I like Brian, but I don't want to put my curse on him because I feel like I'm cursing a lot of these fighters. I don't want to but I do think he's gonna get it to the ground. I think eventually they're gonna get it to the ground. I think he's gonna smother him, and he's gonna try to. If I was in his position, I'd try to get Yair to empty the gas tank, trying to scramble, let him get up, box, take him back down. And I think that's the key to T-City's win, is that he's going to have to slow him down, because if he doesn't slow him down and he starts getting desperate for takedowns, he's going to be open. You know what I mean? And I think the same thing as Yair. If he doesn't get it on the feet and he starts getting desperate, he's going to lose. So I think I'm going to go with Brian. Sorry, Brian. I hope you win. on your side, but it doesn't look like. We'll see. I might be right. A lot of these.
Okay, well, before I give you my pick, I want you to hit the like and subscribe button down below. Okay, we want people to watch us. Anyway, I'd love to have you come on and join our channel. Okay, so now the moment of truth. Wait a minute, hold on a second. All right, so I am going to go once again with the winner, and that would be Yair Rodriguez. I am going against Nando, and I'm picking him. And the reason why I'm picking him is because I think on the feet, especially with the Holloway fight for Ortega, he took a lot of damage, and he seems to be getting hit more and more with Volkanovski. He took some damage there, and he seems to be getting hit more and more. T-City, you can never count him out because of those triangles, but I just see Yair is going to be too elusive. He's going to be using that whole octagon. Now I know it's going to be the bigger octagon because they're not fighting at the apex, so that's in his favor. Okay, of being able to distance himself because he is so long and he can throw kicks from almost anywhere. For him to have that distance to move around, that's going to be a huge advantage to him, in my opinion, because T-City, in order to get him to the ground, as Nando said, is going to have to get close. But if he can move away and move side to side and drop kicks, I think he can hurt him, and then he's going to pick him apart on the feet. That's my prediction. I got Yair Rodriguez by TKO. I'll say third round.
Third round. Okay. All right.
How do you like that breakdown, Nando?
I mean, maybe. I still think T-City's going to win.
Here's the thing, Nando. I'll give you a chance right now to switch sides. You want to switch sides?
I'm not switching sides. No, I'm not switching sides. I think T-City's got it. He just gotta. You are right though. He's getting damaged, but those are boxers. I think that Yair is going to open himself up with those kicks. I think if Brian can get in there, you know, all he needs is a slip. He needs to not go in there and try to box with him. Like a Sean Strickland. He needs to go in there and do what he's good at and use the boxing when he needs it.
All right. Well, this Saturday we'll know the truth. Anyway, I want to thank Nando for joining me. You know, he's going to be a regular on the channel. I asked him if he'd like to come on board, and he said yes. So you did say yes, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich. Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich.